this label we have in Cyprus called the son of the boss, to Mastru.
Yeah.
It always has like a meaning behind it. Like this guy is probably doesn't know the work so much, just inherited it. I believe in balance. I do believe in balance. You cannot only work. You have to have a social life. I think it proves you as a person having a life out of work, out of business. But the way,
sorry to interrupt you. I started changing the term balance lately. In my head, a friend from Singapore, Andy, is saying integration, work-life integration. Thank you, Andreas, for coming today, and it will be very interesting to hear your personal story.
Thanks for the invitation, Andreas. Hope I have a nice story to tell you.
Yeah. Welcome, Andreas. I'm very excited to have you with us today. Andreas told me so many things about you, and since that you know each other since the very early age of your life. I think you met when you were like 12 or something.
Yeah, we go way back with Andreas. We are neighbors from Nicosia at Yeri, staying 200 meters, 500 meters away, our houses. I know him from very young, like 5, 6, but we start hanging out around 11 and 12 years old. Something that it was very foreign to me. Andreas has a big house, but in that big house and the big plot is also his family business. So every time I was visiting Andreas' house, always something was happening. Business was happening, people roaming around. He has a big family of 6 people now. So imagine 6 people on top of that employees, on top of that other business people going around. So it was always interesting to see that when I was young, because it was very different than my house and than what was going on at my house.
Yeah, actually, we always had movement in my house. You always see cars coming, clients coming inside, not inside my house, but at the driveway.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you said, so we know each other over 20 years now.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. What do you remember by, this family business and growing up around that age 12? What do you remember being like?
So yeah, as I always was working, like from that age, 12 years old.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, especially the summers was we were working. I was working the summers, not hard working, but my father tried always to include me in the business, to be not lazy, I'd say, but do stuff, learn the work, be active, don't be sitting around. So from a young age, from 12, I was always involved in Geomas, in the business.
It's like child labor now, that if you think with modern standards.
Yeah, people would say that, yeah.
Did you get paid? Did he pay you?
Because that's a good question. Yeah, you could say that I got my
pocket money.
My pocket money, yeah, exactly.
So did you have this? If you don't work, you're not going out with your friends.
No, not like that. But it's good to go out with money, right? Going out and be able to buy whatever you wanted, like a frappe at that time, like a tirobita with the frappe.
Okay.
So yeah, from a young age, I didn't get a wage, yeah, for sure. But after high school, yeah, I got a wage in the summer. I'd say, yeah.
So you were getting paid when you were like 15 years old or something?
Yeah, if it was a full day work, yeah.
Per day or per month?
Per month.
Per month. Okay. Do you remember like negotiating with your father? Like
I didn't have didn't think about that then. I had to, yeah. Ask for a raise and ask for a bonus, something.
But whatever he gave you was just that.
Anything, yeah. I was happy with anything.
So I assume you were working throughout the year, not just during the summer.
Yeah, usually it was like a routine after school.
After school,
but okay, it sounds like a child labor, but no, but like other people would sit on the TV. I'd go like hang out with employees in Geomast, but for a few, I want 2 hours, like that's max. While
did you feel the pressure to do your homework and get good grades because you have to work hard and go to university, or you knew that no matter what you're gonna join the family business, so homework and good grades was not something for you?
I must say that generally my parents growing me up, they didn't have like a orientation like you have to study to make a business, you have to study this, you have to study that. It was more do whatever you want. It was that spirit. So I was never pressured to study and get good grades or get a good university. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I had a freestyle. So
you didn't have a dream to study something. You knew that your future was a family business from an early age.
yeah, I always had that in the back side of my mind, but it wasn't like when I grow up, I'm going to be a manager at my family business at Geomas. It was relaxed, just living a child's life, doing what a child should do, without having the stress of studying to go for a goal, which I think was healthy for me. I never had stress about having good grades or have a good future.
Did I described you this, how I viewed you, not to you, but the difference from my house to your house and how you were living and how I was living. Did you feel like the difference between your kind of life, between other people around you, your friends?
No, I don't think we had a different kind of life. It was actually normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't feel like, okay, that my friends have... Because I didn't go home and had to work.
Okay.
I didn't go home and everything was always something happening. I was going home and I was just... And all my friends playing video games or have to go out and play ball or something. But I remember you being different because something was happening at your house, you had to assist somewhere and but you were working around all the vibe that was going on.
Yeah, for sure. After army especially, it was business oriented every day at my house. Like, how is work going? How can we improve? We had that discussions or true. But on an early stage, I wouldn't say that it was the must thing. We did follow it up, but
you didn't have to do it, yeah.
Didn't have to do it. It was something
you wanted it, actually.
We wanted to do it. We found joy on doing it. It was something that family discussion was oriented on our job, which is probably something that everyone has every day in their house, but we had that.
Yeah.
You know, I've been thinking of what you said before, that you didn't have this phase in your teenagehood that you will dream what to study, or you go through this tension when we were about to finish high school and you had to, make the best decision on where to study or choose the right subjects of what you're about to study. And you made it sound very smooth and very nice and very, liberating, because you didn't have to go through this. And so you had no choice, essentially, because you will go work for the family business. And I understand now you are been working for that business for close to 15, 20 years. And you have excelled and you're in a managerial position. So is inheriting a family business a blessing or is it a curse?
Okay, so Christos, I'll say that actually looking back, I do regret not being focused on studying something. Maybe it would help me improve in some sectors. So I was really calm. And actually, I must say that the decision of what to study, it's kind of funny or sad maybe. It was like a week or 2 weeks before I finished the army. I was like, okay, I'm going to finish the army. Now what? What am I going to do now? I have to study. So I was like, okay, what can I study? I'll do something like, we have a business, so I have to do a business-oriented study. So I went to the university. Yeah. So I went to the University of Nicosia, studied business administration. First 6 months, first semester, I didn't really like business. It was too general. I went to accounting, more specific. And answering your question, Christos, regarding if it's a curse or a blessing, for sure it's a blessing. Having your own business, lucky to have your own business, I would change something on that.
Mm.
Yeah. So It's more like a bless.
Yeah, you know,
Not having the stress to study something. So,
lots of people, especially when they have when they hear, okay, this guy is working at his father's business or they inherited something, most of people say, lucky guy. He doesn't have to work. His father made all this money. He made all this business for him. And this guy can go and hang around his business and make the money. Did you ever feel that around your employees, around people around you? Did you ever feel that vibe?
yeah, Andreas, so this label we have in Cyprus called the son of the boss, to Mastru.
Yeah.
It always has like a meaning behind it. Like this guy is probably doesn't know the work so much, just inherited it. He's just sitting down and just getting paid, being this position, having this label. In my case, I don't want to be that. Don't want to have that label. I want to win my position, like knowing my job best, working hard, and especially like my employees cannot give me that label. It's like Andreas, he knows his job. We'll go ask him because he knows his job, because he has been doing this for a long time and he has the knowledge and the skills to solve a problem. Will find everything work.
Yeah.
Not because I'm the son of the boss.
Because of your skills and the competence and what you know about the business.
From a young age, as we said before, I was always involved in all the parts of the company, like going out with the drivers to meet customers, how we speak to customers, how we have to interact with customers.
Okay.
Also, then in the workshop, I had to service and work with my hands to find out how these fire extinguishers work correctly. So I know every small detail about this business, this sector.
To put our audience into a framework, because we didn't say what you're actually doing. So you're working for Geomast.
Yes, Geomast is a company that specializes in fire fighting equipment. So we sell firefighting equipment as fire extinguishers. Mm-hmm. We have been doing this like this year 40 years. It's a 40 years anniversary. Actually, I'd say we're more in the health and safety sector, and in active firefighting. So what will you do after a fire happens? Not passive firefighting, but more.
And you said before that you started working from a young age. You went through all you wanted to go through all the departments so you can understand the business, and that you will feel comfortable that one day the family business will be under your management and control, and you will know from the very bottom to the very top how things are done in the organization. So how do you feel of this change of the ownership from generation to generation, and what is the biggest challenge for you passing the business to the following generation?
So Christos, Geomast now is like the third generation. My grandparents started, Andreas Pangos. Then my father with his brothers made Geomast, which is 3 names. Yorgos, Marios, Stelios. That's the Geomast. And now it's my generation time. I must say I'm lucky to have 2 generations working together at least, my father and I, which have a totally different perspective on things, how should they work. But I must say the communication between us helps a lot, because we are, it's healthy, we speak, we understand each other. Yeah, so working with different generations, I'd say it's a struggle sometimes, but I must say it helps in the long run.
When I was 20 years old, I remember my life. I got out of the army. Not 20 years old, 21, because then I was working with my father as well. And then I was studying full time. So I was going to the university, studying, meeting with friends, having fun, partying, and maybe having a part-time job some days. How about you? As I understand, you were first full-time employee at that age, where most of the people were students, and secondly, you were studying. So it would be very interesting to describe a day of that age at 20. I will tell you my day at 21 when I was studying. I was waking up, maybe hungover from a party or something. I was going to school, just hanging around the cafeterias with friends and meeting people. I was going to classroom, studying, meeting with friends, going to a bar, maybe to a club, meeting with friends again, having some drinks, sleeping again. That was a typical day at 21 years old. I would love to hear your day.
As you said, in that age, my focus was work and then university, like the extra part. So a normal day would be like 6:30, waking up, getting dressed, going to work, have to carry fire extinguisher in the van, all day run around,
What exactly doing with
delivering fire extinguishers, picking up for maintenance, like full labor job as a driver of a Geomast, servicing fire extinguishers. So I couldn't have like these hangovers. It wasn't an option party the night before. I had to be cautious, not to
alert.
Yeah, not to stay late the night before. So so after 5 o'clock, I used to run to go to the university parking lot, which from Yeri to go to Engomi was at least 1 hour. So all that traffic, park, change some clothes in the van, because I was in the van, do a 3-hour course, and go back home around 10 o'clock and repeat for the whole weekdays.
So that was
my day today, not 20. I used to hang out. We had this Friday going out with friends, like the special Friday, because Saturday wasn't the working day. We really enjoyed that day. So that was my... I have regrets because, I love traveling. I try to do it as much as possible, but like most of my friends on that age, they went to Erasmus. I didn't really have the option for Erasmus, which I really... I wanted to do it actually, but I couldn't do it, having regrets leaving the job behind. It's something, like in Cyprus, there's a lot of small, medium companies and lots of kids now are getting the position of the parents. I'm guessing a lot of people can relate with my story in the case that when you have a business behind you, small business, you can't really be flexible and move around as you want, as others can.
You always have to be on.
Yes, like we had a discussion of traveling in the summer to go to a Greek island, and I was like, I don't know if I can leave work for like a week.
Yeah,
it's too long. It's like a curse.
Yeah.
So it can be a curse, not just a blessing.
True. Yeah. In that sense, yeah.
You said used the word regret, and I think regret it's an emotion that comes to us when we self-doubt about our decisions of the past. When I also feel vulnerable at some point, I try to think of the past and what I should have done and what it would have been different. But after thinking more about this, I came to the conclusion that it's very unfair to put this pressure to us. It's very unfair to, demolish all these efforts we have done of the past, because I'm a strong believer that what we did in the past made us who we are today. In the language of game theory, this is called the zero-sum game. So if you lose something, you win something in the future. Or if you won something in the past, you might lose something in the future. So if you could put this into perspective, what are these things that you think you lost in the past or you wanted to do and really paid off now? Like, because you can judge from the past. And what do you think you did something in the past that might not have played well now?
Totally agree with you, Christos. So I think the way we say regret is like when we start a certain conversation, like when we start talking about trips or what did we do when we were students or the parties we went, the people we went out. That's when you have this feeling that, I lost, I maybe missed that opportunity then, not doing that. But looking at the long run, Christos, looking at my life today and my position at the Cypriot market as Geomas as Andreas, I'm proud of it. And probably all the things I missed then are worth it today. But again, as I said, is when you start a specific topic, like business, this thing was a good decision then. And I'm happy and proud about that. But when you still talk about parties and what you did then, maybe I missed out on some stuff.
I know you did a lot, but never mind.
Oh, yeah.
At least
I tried my best, yeah.
At least you did something. So it's, now talking, let's say, about the period where you were from 20 to 30, well, I guess lots of that period is pretty much the same at work. I'm interested to hear about cases where you were, okay, I'm giving up. I will drop everything. I will leave. I will go home. I'm not coming back. And I will tell you one of my story that, not a specific story, but how usually I was at my work thinking, okay, I'm giving up. Usually it starts with being a very good day. So everything is working very well. The projects that I had are completed. Everything was going according to plan. I achieved the goals I had in mind for 1 year, and everything is going smoothly. And at some point of that day, I get a huge complaint from people that something is not working well. Or I get underappreciated. People don't realize the work that has been put and was done for years. And they're seeing just a small fault of the whole grand plan I was working on and delivered. That 99% I worked the whole year, and people seeing that 1% that went wrong and like, why that is wrong? Why can you not do it better? Then are the moments where I'm thinking, okay, I'm giving up. I will just go home and stop everything and drop everything and not do this anymore. So those are some moments where myself, I'm thinking of giving up, is being underappreciated and people see only the faults in the grander plan of achievement. I'm curious to hear like a personal story of yours where you were, park the van or being at the office and like, okay, drop everything and go home.
Yeah, well, I think we all have those fuck it moments or like, giving up moments. Yeah. Especially I can say there's some days that everything goes wrong from the beginning until the end. Those days are the worst. My story, of course I had those moments. Just I don't want to give up. Usually that happens when, as you said, everything goes well, something goes wrong, and you don't feel appreciated. Like all the effort you did were not enough. I had those moments for sure.
Do you remember any specific? You went to a client or you had an employee dispute or I don't know, profits were up or down or the crisis, maybe COVID. Do you remember any moment where you were thinking, oh no, this cannot happen?
This is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you lose a customer, that's a bad day. Usually, that's a bad day. I had lots of times with the employees having disputes. I think that's the most difficult part in a company, the human resources part.
Okay.
You have to know how to respect the employee so they can produce exactly how you want to show your image to the company, to clients. The regretting moments, I can say, is when you have a long day at work at the end of the day and things don't work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You lost a client.
Lost a client, employee not happy, he went by home and he doesn't feel happy at
work.
and you didn't do your best.
Andreas, you touched something very interesting for me. You referred to customers, clients, and employees. In Cyprus, they say the client's always right. But there is this quote I really liked from Enzo Ferrari, the legendary Ferrari who built this multi-million family business, and he's a leader in the car manufacturing business. He said the client is not always right. And I wanted to hear, what do you think about this?
It's an interesting question, Christos. I think it can't be strictly client first, employee first. A bit of both, my opinion. Like Geomast is their clients. Without your clients, that's your
Asset.
That's your asset, exactly. And also the employees represent Geomast, so they are Geomast. So you have to have the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So you cannot just say, for example, I lost a client for one employee. The employee should go. No, you should be. What happened there? And we have both. So I cannot answer it's customer comes first or employee comes first. I think it's a bit of both. I don't know if I'm covering your comment.
On this element, I was reading this article from Harvard Business Review about balancing the interest of shareholders, the owners of the business, the customers, and the employees. And the evidence suggests that actually shareholders, the owners, the ones who take the profit, are better off when they put the customer first. So when it comes to balance between the interest of the business or the customer, they are better off when the criteria of putting the customer first is better.
Is this a long term? Do you know
yes, the evidence will suggest that in the long term,
okay,
I'm not talking about the specific situations, but if you have it as a guiding framework that we as a business, we put the customer first, then the evidence suggests that, business will do better. And I think to achieve that in the long term, as you said, because it has to be a strategy, not of an individual, not to make an individual decision when it comes and we see in that specific situation how we're going to react. But if it's your strategy to put the client first, this is achievable only when you have a purpose as a corporate, as a business. And I think that purpose-driven companies make more money. They have more engaged employees because they have a purpose, and they have more loyal customers. So what's the purpose of your business, if you have one?
Yeah, because our business is service. So customer service service satisfaction is very important. It's number one for sure. The customer shouldn't feel that he has been serviced as he should be. For sure, one of the things I usually say when I do an interview is that I ask two things from the employee if he's going to work with us. First is we have to have a trust between us. So the way I work is I trust you until you prove me opposite. So speaking about that, I trust the employee. But for sure, when a customer comes and gives me like a bad review or a complaint that something happened, I will doubt my employee first. I will give first to the customer because the customer has no reason to lie, I'm guessing. So customer satisfaction would come first. Maybe think about it like that. What do you think?
Yeah, but I guess if you make an examination of what happened actually, and my guess is, did it happen that you drop bad customers and you defended employees to a customer?
Yeah, for sure it happened, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you understand the vibes between the customer and if you know your employee, yeah, for sure you'll put a priority to the employee. You'll say, okay, trust my employee. I will not let him down.
Yeah.
I would put in that case, put first my employee.
How do the how many employees do you have in the business?
It's 25 to 30.
How do you feel that the employees think of you? Like you are the successor of the family business. Do you think you have gained through your work and effort their respect and esteem as an esteemed colleague?
Christos, so I'm working for 15 years for Gemas now. So I was always the youngest and the smallest guy in the company, like the youngest. And so the best way I figured out at a young age to win their respect is to know my subject, be respectful for them, not by asking for the attention or asking for the respect. So the best way to do that was to know my work correctly, know how to respond, to know how to fix problems fast and grab the situation as you had to. So that was the way that's the way we work with the companies. And I feel, I know actually that the way they look at me now is like Andreas knows his subject. We will fix the problem by going to Andreas, not because...
Not because he's the owner.
Exactly,
they will come to you because you are a fundamental asset to the company through your work. So that will be if someone hears us now and he's like 18 and he's facing the same struggles like you, he thinks that he wants to go to study, but he has this successful business that he's gonna inherit. So your message will be try to engage and work from the very first level or line of business and grow within the business.
So Christos, lucky for me, I love my job. I really enjoy every day going to work. I love the whole sector. I like the way we work. This is something I really enjoy. So the first thing I'd say to someone 18 years old, give a try to your family business, probably because your father, your mother did the job. Probably they also have something similar in genes inside. Try it. But always follow what makes you happy. Like, I enjoy my job. I was never thinking about growing up being a manager. I just tried it, worked for me. I'm happy doing it every day. I wouldn't change something on that. So, and I'm sure I hear lots of my clients, like old business owners, 50, 60, saying, oh, my kids don't want to do this job. I'm so sad. I don't know what to do. Yeah, if someone doesn't want to do it, you should not struggle them in doing it. They will not do it. They'll have an expiry date. And we see that every day, I think, especially in the Cypriot market, seeing companies that were huge, like you'd say too big to fail in Cyprus, that failed because the kids probably didn't want to do that. They were just forced to do this job. In my case, I think I like my job. I love my job. I have another 4 sisters. My 4 sisters didn't select this path. They're in different paths because they didn't really like this part of enjoy doing this job.
Interesting. You mentioned before how being in the family business prevented you from traveling as much as you would like, especially at a young age. I know that at 25 years old or somewhere around there, you had a relationship and your girlfriend at the time and your wife now was working in UK, right? And I remember how hard it was for you having this distance relationship. And it was always a struggle between working and taking leave and going there. Do you want to tell us a bit how family business and personal relationships work at that respect for you then?
So I had a long distance relationship for 5 years.
5 years.
Elena, my wife now, 2 months ago I got married. She was a civil engineer in London. And, like all couples in the beginning, whenever they meet, they're like, we want to stay together all the time. It was this feeling we had, like being together. So we had these discussions. How can we find a way to be together more? So having the business in Cyprus, I always felt I had roots holding me in Cyprus. I couldn't just go and work for in London for a small period of time. So, yeah, it was something I had to struggle and, no, this is how things are. We have to make the best out of this. So that was something holding me back from traveling, was the business. But we had an understanding, like, you like your job, you like doing this. It's okay, we'll find a way to make it work.
It's interesting because it's like she accepted Geomas, your company, as part of Andreas.
Yeah, this is who I am. She always said, this is you, I will not change you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like marrying the business as well,
Yeah.
in some respect.
And how is it now that like you're both back in the same country? Do you spend a lot of time outside the office, or do you find yourself working a lot?
Yeah, I usually go, I wake up at 5:30. That's my schedule. 6:30 I'm in the office, so I only say good morning to Ella while she's sleeping. And I'm always the last leaving the company, so 6:30 is the earliest I leave the company, so usually leave around 8. Elena is
Wow,
lucky.
that's 14 hours.
14 hours, yeah.
That's a good days, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good day. That's a normal day. Some days more. And it's full. It's all the time. Yeah. So Elena, she usually she's lucky.
She knew you wouldn't change.
No, she knew it. She married this package. She knew it. I had the complaint actually yesterday. Like, I didn't see you at all. Like, yeah. But then she 10 minutes later. Okay, I knew it. This would happen, and okay, I'm okay with it. But yeah, for sure, she wants to spend more time with me, and I understand her, and I have to find a way to get away from this. This is not
integrate.
No, this is not a long-term thing you can go. I think micromanaging and spending all this time is not healthy for a business. So you can't let it walk by itself.
So you sound like a person who spends a lot of time at the office. And another quote from Enzo Ferrari, it's not that I remember all these quotes without reason. I just read a cool biography about him. So one must keep working continuously, otherwise one thinks of death. This is what he said. I mean, I'm not asking a philosophical question about death. I don't want to get into this, but I want to hear your opinion about continuous work, learning and growing.
Mm-hmm. So there's this expression, you don't have to work hard, you have to find a way to, how is that?
Love the process, maybe?
No, it's like, don't work hard, work smart.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
That's the expression. I don't know if I agree with that expression. It's a bit of both. You have to work hard, I think. You have to be focused what you want, and you have to put in the hours, especially in my line of business. So working hard is important. It's fundamental. I don't know if it's to death.
But continuously, I want to hear the word continuously.
Continuously until the end, like until 60s. That's what till you retire. That's.
I guess it's forever until because you don't think of death.
Yes.
But I think you should. I don't know if it's work, whatever you call it. You should do something, whatever you. Inactivity, I don't think it's good.
Yes, work doesn't mean to be at the office work, but there are people who say, for example, I want to make so much money and I will retire at 50, and I will just be 50 and don't know, wake up, drinking coffee, do sports, read the newspaper, and then do nothing. Can you imagine yourself like that?
No, I don't see
what work means for you, what growing means for you, learning through your business means for you.
I don't look at that. I don't see myself like, okay, I'll work until 40, make like a box of money and this thing, and then retire and enjoy my life. I believe in balance. I do believe in balance. You cannot only work. You have to have a social life. I think it proves you as a person having a life out of work, out of business. But the way,
Sorry to interrupt you. I started changing the term balance lately. In my head, a friend from Singapore, Andy, is saying integration, work-life integration. And I like it so much better because balance is like always something needs to win, while integration is like always something needs to be integrated differently in your life to make it work. Like, yes, sometimes you need to work until 10 and you integrate your life accordingly. And sometimes you don't need to work so well. So personal life takes more time, like the time you got married and the time you were doing your house on the final stages, you were having more personal time. So, and integrating work accordingly. So I love the term integration. If we remove this balance and we call it integration, it will make us think this more in a more healthy way than the balance.
So yeah, I agree with you about the integration part. It's important nowadays, this era now, to be able to balance, to sort of have an integration. Balance is an old way of thinking. Like in the past, it was 8 hours work, 8 hours pleasure, and 8 hours sleep. That doesn't work now. Integration is important to be able, with my wedding, I had the option to leave. I had the option to work less hours and be focused on something else. So I shifted these hours to pleasure than work.
Makes sense.
So integration probably is a better way of setting the new way of things are going on in the life.
Something interesting. You said at 20 years old, you were probably for a long time. You were working for doing manual labor. Let's say you were getting fire extinguishers, putting them in the van, going to the client, installing the fire extinguishers, handling the contracts, and doing a bit of everything. That was the beginning of your career full time at Geomast. It will be interesting to hear a day today, how a normal day, in a sense of what you are doing at work, versus the day 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
So, yes, fire extinguishers is a part, carrying the fire extinguisher. I did in my 20s. Today, my part in the company is more advisory. So I go visit big clients. Mm-hmm. And I have the luck in the sector I am to be visiting government, businesses or clients, also seeing houses, small houses, or to big hotels, casinos, airports, and everything. So I have the option to be everywhere. So a day-to-day with me would be more advisory, seeing at the customers, seeing the needs. We also, big part of my job now in Geomas is fire suppression, automatic fire extinguishing.
Okay, fires. Okay, so it's like machines that are automatically open when.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a system, let's say, that operates automatically. That's a new. That's what we're focusing now in the company, of finding ways of working automatically extinguishing.
Sorry for interrupting you, but do you see that at some point in the future we will have a system and the fire extinguishers will go away more and more?
Probably in the future. I think the way the technology is moving fast, for sure, there will be a lot less needed. They will always be important, but I can see AI happening in the fire extinguishing business. I mean, heat detectors sensoring the fire, automatically going extinguishing without the use of a person being there. I see that in the future for sure. But I must say I'm lucky because the last 60, 70 years, this sector has always been growing. It's became important for people to have fire safety in the houses. Before, especially in Cyprus, when we entered the European Union, that's when our job boomed because it became a regulation to have fire extinguishers. Before, you had to be like a badass to sell a fire extinguisher to someone. Like, when will I need this? It's not something I will need, or a service.
Okay, so it became a regulatory rule, let's say, law to have one. So it's growing more and more interesting. And it might be in the future that they will have you to have an automate system instead of
Started.
Interesting.
It's for me all this time we're having this very nice and friendly chat. It's striking to me how important this business was in your life, like from the very early age of your life, or even these difficult years of being a teenager, that Geomass was like number one. So if you, I think it's fair to say, or even as your friends describe Andreas with one word, everybody will say Geomass, because for you, the work was everything, and it is everything. Even today, because you spend so much time at the office, and you said before that you regret. Sometimes you get into this zone of regretting, but at the same time, you're really proud of the sacrifices that you made because they pay now. And do you see that in real life, like in practical examples where, you know, this happens and you say, yes, all these things I've done in my life, they were completely worth it, and now everything pays off? Like, do you get this satisfaction from the business? Do you have like a story to share with us?
Yeah, I must say that, I grew up with the fire extinguisher. I had Action Man. I had the fire extinguisher playing up. But yes, today
And you didn't want to become a firefighter?
No, actually, no. I wasn't like become a firefighter. I wanted to work at Geomass. So I have these moments which my experience with my experience. I'm 33 years old now, so I'm not that old. But I think I have a lot of experience from working all these hours and putting all those hours in, and I get the satisfaction, especially when I go to a customer. No matter how big the customer is, I feel comfortable. And that comfortability comes from knowing my subject. I know so well my subject, I do not feel any hesitation or any stress or stress when I'm having a meeting. That's a satisfaction you get from putting all those hours in. And
what about like a story, like a random story that maybe even didn't involve you, that came from someone else, and you felt proud about it? Can you think of anything like that? Does it come to your mind?
I'll tell you the most recent meeting I had recently was like, I met this guy. He was working in a big construction company, making a big project in Cyprus, and I met him, and he like knew about me from hearing about my company, about me. So we're discussing about how to do this work at this construction site. We got to meet each other very well. Then this guy, after a few months, he went to another company, big company that had a relation with this construction. Again, the company there, call Andreas. He's a guy from Geomass. Oh, I know Andreas from previously. So he called me again. We discussed about the company, about that job, the new job actually. And now, yesterday, he called me from another group of hotels. So this guy changed 3 jobs in like a year. And that's like the new generation, people working,
moving jobs
fast. But on this guy, he called me and he was like, Andreas, again, the bosses here told me call Andreas for this thing. So that was a satisfaction for me. And I answered him, look, I'm like, I'm below each stone. You'll find me everywhere. So that was a satisfaction.
I don't think Averovnovic will be happy to hear this just before the presidential elections. Or do you think he's proud that he's below every stone?
I would be proud. Why not? It means that I
want to be on top of the stone, not below the stone.
I think that's what he's trying to do now.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
awesome.
That was the last experience I have. But the fulfilling part is like getting the recognition.
Yes, of course, from the customers.
And every day you get because there's everyday small fires. We don't hear them in the news, but there's every day a small fire happening, and we usually find out. And getting the rewarding feeling from the customer that he saved his property with using one of my equipment.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it. It's something.
Yeah, I remember lots of stories that Andreas told me in the past that he was very happy when he heard a fire started and they used successfully to put down the fires with his equipment. And he's very happy about that because you can indeed see your work you done to save lives. So yeah, that should be a very rewarding moment as well.
Yeah, it's something it's a good of the business, let's say.
Yeah.
So I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andreas, for coming and share this amazing story with us. I think you touched before that in Cyprus, small and medium businesses are the backbone of the economy. Most of them are family businesses, and I think a lot of people go through the same struggles like you, and I think we have a lot of messages to them, and it's good for people to see a real representation of, telling a story how it was in the past. Like it resonates because they can feel it like your old self, and now they can see your future self, that you are so proud about this business, that you worked hard, that if you work hard, it pays off. So if I was a young guy inheriting a family business, I would be very, very lucky to have this opportunity to see your and hear your story. So thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for being here.